Well, welcome everybody. I'd like to welcome everyone here in the council chambers today and online for joining us for our Tuesday, January 17th, 2023 meeting of the Yucca Valley Town Council. We'll go ahead and start off by calling the meeting to order.
Council members Abel.
Here.
Droz.
Here.
Lombardo.
Here.
Schooler.
Here.
And Mayor Dennison.
Dennison here. So we'll also start off now. I've asked Captain Warwick to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, so please stand. It'll be followed up by an invocation led by Grumpy Keller from the today he's representing the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Chaplain. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would join me, and the flag's over here in the corner, right hand over your heart, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening, and Lord, we thank you for everything you give us, Lord. We lift the council up to you. They give so much of their time. They just pour into this community constantly, Lord. So I ask that you give them wisdom and guidance as they guide Yucca Valley into the future. Lord, I ask that a very special blessing this evening on all our first responders. It's been a tough month, and Lord, we know that you were in charge. So right now, I lift them to you. I lift this council to you. Lord, we thank you for everything you do in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Grumpy.
Thank you for those words, Grumpy. Well, tonight we have the honor of having a moment in presentation of a recognition for National Park Superintendent David Smith. Anyone that's been around town for a while has certainly met or seen or heard about David Smith. He's been very involved in the community. We certainly have on the agenda a recognition tonight, but David, if you could take some time and possibly give us a little bit of background in your journey and things that are going on.
Well, thank you very much, Rick. We had a tribal signing ceremony today down in Coachella, and it went very late. And I just got home, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to get to Yucca Valley. So I just want to apologize to you. I did break speed laws to get here tonight because it was really important to me. So this is I'm beginning my 10th year coming to help manage your national park, and it has been such a pleasure and honor. One of the natures of the National Park Service is it's a little bit quasi-military in the sense that when you're told that it's time to go to another place, to work at another place, you follow that direction. So it was my time to go up and work at Golden Gate National Parks. So that would be the Alcatraz, Marin Headlands, Muir Woods, those locations. So I'm going to be heading up there in just a few days. I found out over Christmas, and it's been kind of a mad dash and really melancholy. I can't believe how much I love this community. When the chaplain was talking just now, saying how we need to think about the work that you all do. What you do is amazing. You take on your own free time and you help to lead this community, and you've done such a magnificent job doing it. And so that's one of my observations about government up here in the high desert. You've done a great job of leading this community, and I'm so thankful to have you here. As your park superintendent, I can tell you that one of my biggest concerns for Yucca Valley is the threat of wildfire. And what that could do to this community and the role that the park and other public lands play in that. So we are continuing to do a very aggressive and assertive measures to remove the hazardous fuels that we have in the Joshua Tree Forest inside the park right now. And we will continue to do that. So we're working with our partners in the BLM, getting as much grant money as possible to hire as many people as possible to go out there and do things that I never thought I would do in my life. Using herbicides inside of a national park to get rid of exotic weeds so that it doesn't burn down a Joshua Tree forest that may not exist in the next 80 years because of global climate change. We're doing things like that. We're going to individual trees to remove weeds around those trees so that they don't become the ladder fuels that will destroy those forests that is the reason that most people come here to enjoy our national park. So that's one of the things that's a big concern for me that we're working on. The other one is, just Black Rock in general. The infrastructure there is just terrible. It has been a real challenge. I sat down with my team today, and we've got millions of dollars of projects lined up to repave that area, to redo the infrastructure that's at that area. I was informed a couple weeks ago that the Directorate of the National Park Service will be coming to Yucca Valley in March to have their annual meeting. So it's that's the director of the Park Service. It's all of his assistant directors and deputy directors and the regional directors from around the United States. And I specifically wanted to have them at Black Rock so they could see the sorry state of our infrastructure up there and have a better appreciation for some of the challenges that we're dealing with here. I also wanted to mention the good work that the equestrians have been doing here in Yucca Valley. We've got a group of horsemen and ladies that have been coming up. They've been making good use of the horse areas and facilities that we have up at Black Rock, and they've been doing good work on the trails and helping out with search and rescue. So I am thrilled to see the work that we've been doing to expand our opportunities for equestrians inside the park. This last year, we had another 3.1 million visitors at Joshua Tree, which blows my mind. It's just really hard to appreciate what that actually means. And the amount of money that it pumps into the local economies, both here and in the low desert as well. So I don't think we're going to experience the rapid growth that we saw over the last 9 years. It's not sustainable. We would have to change our model of how we run national parks if that was going to be the case. But I do know that people love this place, and they continue to come here. And they come here because of the beauty of the resource, but they also come because of the people that they meet up here, the people in your community here in the town of Yucca Valley, as well as the other high desert communities. So I leave you with my thanks for the amazing work you do. I love the partners I work with. I love working with the Sheriff's Department. They have helped us out so much. Recently, we had 2 deaths inside the park this last week, or the week before that, and both Riverside County and San Bernardino County, as well as our Sheriff's Department and the fire department, where they're helping us deal with those really tough situations. It's great having Scott Tuttle as a partner. It's nice to have the acting deputy chief. Is that the term? It's nice to have the acting deputy chief deign us with his presence this evening here in humble Yucca Valley. But he's an amazing man to work with as well, as are every one of you. So with that, thank you so much. We're going to be heading out in about a week or so to try to find a place to live, and I start working in about 10 days up in San Francisco. So any questions about the park or anything else I can help you with?
Are you going to be coming back down when the superintendent of parks comes here?
Yeah, you know what, I think I did. I promised the woman who's going to be acting for me. So Jane Rogers is our chief of science. She has agreed to be acting as long as necessary until they find a permanent, and she said she'd like some help when the regional directors and the directorate come here, so I will come down for that. And I'll be coming down every 2 weeks just to help get the house ready so we can sell it.
And you'll put in a good word for us with the new park
I will,
director here?
I will make sure that both the director and the new superintendent, whoever he or she is, understands how important it is to work with the town council here in Yucca.
Because I remember a few years back when we paved a road that was horribly destroyed and nobody wanted to do it. But we came together as a group of different entities, and I think Yucca stepped up and said, okay, we're going to pay for it this time, but we need these things done in order to keep it healthy. We kind of took a risk because we paid a lot of money for a road that could have washed out the next year if we had a storm like we did the last few days. But it worked, and we want to thank you for all that you did to help that happen. And we're looking forward to the new superintendent here to help us do the things that need to happen inside the park to divert the water, to keep that healthy and working.
I totally forgotten about coming here and seeing the web pages that were devoted to do not go to Black Rock. It is too dangerous for your vehicle to go down that road.
And it was.
And
it was
you jumped
horrible.
on it. You all jumped on it and solved that problem. So thank you.
Well,
Thank you
it
so
helped
much.
us both, I think, a lot. And we thank you for your effort in that.
Thank you.
David, thank you so very much. You've been a very active and important voice for our area and for our national park. So it's really heart-wrenching that you are leaving us, because we felt like we really had somebody who absolutely loved it as much as we did, and that was really speaking up on behalf of our local park. So we really are going to miss you. I think sending you to Alcatraz for speeding is just seems a little heavy-handed, but if what is it? If you do the crime, you got to pay the time. So we are going to totally miss you and so forth. Yeah, we're really looking forward to the Black Rock Campground. It's so well used, and it is part of the national park. It's a little different than the other areas, and people who go there and experience that area come back again and again. So yeah, getting some improvements in that would be just fantastic and much needed, as you know. And then also, do you have an update on the entrance improvements and trying to fast track vehicles coming through the checkpoints?
So you're talking about West Entrance in the town of Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
And we are, so the money's there. We are just going through contracting right now. So we began contracting back in June. And the first bids came back at, a couple million more than we'd planned for. So we had to rebid it and make it a wider audience. And we got the bids in, and our oversight in Washington said we didn't do it right. So we're on the third round of it right now, and it's a back and forth thing. So any moment we should have, a contract for this. There's a lot of folks that want to do it. There's a lot of money there for doing it. I am still gunning for, groundbreaking in a few months and getting this done, this summer, because it's a significant thing. And as I explained before, we're going from one window to 4 windows. We're adding on a specific pass-through lane and a bike lane to get people into the park. So we think the capacity will increase about 300%. And from a management standpoint, that's great, because right now what happens is CHP comes and they yell at us. The sheriff's department never yells at us. CHP says we've gotten so many complaints because we have 2 or 3 miles of traffic that we end up just opening the gate. And then you have a flood of 500 cars that come through and they swamp every parking lot. If I can have a car go through about every, 10 seconds or so, that's fine. That seems to self-govern itself. When I have 500 cars coming in at the same time, it makes it very difficult to manage the park.
Yeah, and it ruins the experience of driving through the park, because it's very tranquil and beautiful. But again, we're going to really miss you, because you've been just a fantastic voice on behalf of our community and our park. So all the best to you, and I'm glad you're coming back to visit and make sure our baby's projects and all those things, the things you work so hard for, get done.
I will keep on coming back to Joshua Tree for the rest of my life. My mom and dad took me camping here when I was about 6, and I've been coming back ever since. So this will always be part of my life.
All right, David, I just want to say thank you for all you've done. I haven't interacted with you a lot, but I see you around all the time, and you're always like, you're like the local guy that made really big in the national park. So that's really cool. And we know that you have your best interest, our best interest in your heart. And that's really heartwarming to us. So I really appreciate that. I know the community appreciates that. And I remember driving up, you were talking about the fuels and the cleanup, and driving up La Quintana towards Eureka Peak. And there were people out there cleaning up all the, all the brush on the side of the road. And that was really cool. There were like dozens and dozens of bags, and people were putting them in trucks. And anyway, I just want to thank you for all you've done, and I hope you do come back here a lot, and I hope you enjoy your new position in San Francisco. So
I'm going to try my best. The housing prices are a little bit higher there than in Yucca Valley. That's what's going to kill me, but we'll survive.
All right. Thank you, David.
David, I'd like to ditto all of the comments that have been made. We really appreciate your service here and you being part of the community the way you have been. I think that's been really key, and it's something that we're certainly going to miss. We've just become accustomed to seeing you everywhere, and always upbeat, always ready to take the microphone and talk if you have to, or educate people. But you've done a lot for us, and we really appreciate that. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years already, but we do wish you the best in your next job.
Jim. Appreciate it.
Well, a lot of it's already been said, David, but I'll tell you, it's been great. I've lived out here many, many years, since the 70s, and I'll tell you, the interest in the park has definitely changed, and most of it has really curved and ramped up over the 10 years that you've been here, and I think that's a reflection of you. The people that you put into place, the camaraderie that you build, the engagement that you just actively do, is noticed, and I've always seen that. It's not uncommon for me to see you at an event, but all the years in the past with the other superintendents, I was with the fire district for many years, and so responded, as you had mentioned, to events in the park. I don't ever remember meeting the park superintendent, or if I did, it was someone different all the time, because so much time had lapsed. And I just want to thank you so much for completely buying in on the idea of, we talked earlier about tourism and that being some type of economic engine for our community to help it to be sustainable. And that was really, a lot of you made a big difference in this entire basin. So I'm very, very happy that you've been here, and I wish you the best, in your endeavors in Golden Gate. I love it here, so I probably wouldn't go up to San Francisco, but you've really left your fingerprints all over everything, and I just love everything you do, and I'm very happy for you.
So if you do make it up there, we'll have a spare bedroom. You are welcome to stay with us. It is way too expensive to get a hotel, so just stay with us, okay? I'm very conservative when it comes fiscally, so stay with us.
Okay.
So, and I think the people in the audience would like this all to stop so that business can go forward.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do, one last thing. I'd like to just say a few words, and we have a plaque to give you, and just to show our
thank you so
gratefulness,
much.
okay? So I'm going to join you up front, because that way we'll kind of be together for that. And if you don't mind, quickly, afterwards, if we can get a picture with you.
Of course. Rick Dennison, gosh, what an honor to have a photo with you. You're famous. Good to see you, man.
Sir. This is great. Well, right here, I'd like to say, thank you very much. If you would hold that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
And I'm going to read what's on there
Okay.
with this.
Oh, very good.
So, I think I got to turn it on somehow. Let's try that. Hello? Hello? Testing, 1, 2. I'm not good at karaoke.
No,
I don't know
obviously.
how to do this. That's okay. I think I got one here.
Here we go.
Let's work this out. Well, this is presented to you, David. To David Smith, presented to Superintendent David Smith, recognizing the dedication, service to the residents and visitors of Joshua Tree National Park, Yucca Valley, and the entire Morongo Basin. Thank you for your environmental stewardship and community partnership, critical for the quality of life and betterment of our local desert communities. Dated this day, the 17th day of January 2023.
Thank you, Rick.
And that's sincere.
I appreciate
you
that.
really,
Very nice.
You're everywhere. You're everywhere. So, good luck.
Yeah, it's going to be an adventure. Excellent.
Thank you.
I forgot to say what a great guy Curtis is too. You guys have got a great city manager.
without a doubt.
He works really hard. And you talk about the guy who's around
guys wanna
town.
get a picture?
Curtis is always around town.
I'm sorry, we've run out of time.
He's the mayor, he tells us what to do.
Thank you very much.
Dave, from staff's perspective, you've been terrific all these years, so thank you very much. And I will come to San Francisco and follow up on that offer.
I'll have the same cell phone, so just call me before you come, so we have dinner ready, okay? Okay. Thank you so much. I've got to go back home to see the family, so.
Yes, David, thank you. So now comes another great part where we get to recognize all the work that David's done, but one thing is we also have an introduction of a new employee today.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It is my pleasure to introduce Jakub Kazmurek, who joined our Community Services team today as a new Recreation Supervisor. Recently, the town completed the recruitment for this position, and we're fortunate to have a number of qualified candidates apply. As the town works to develop the necessary staffing for both current and future operations, we've restructured the Recreation Department to include 2 supervisor positions, Recreation Supervisor Aquatics and Special Events, and Recreation Supervisor Sports and Wellness Programming. The two successful candidates selected was our own Recreation Coordinator Clayton Reardon and Jakub, who I'm pleased to introduce this evening. Jakub, who goes by Kuba, was a Recreation Coordinator with the City of 29 Palms and has worked as a certified personal trainer as well as a professional athlete. He holds a Bachelor's of Science in Sports Management from Idaho State University and has extensive experience in sports camps and sports performance training. We look forward to Kuba's contributions to the department, both today and in the future at the new Aquatics and Recreation Center facility. Please join us in welcoming Kuba to the town as Recreation Supervisor, Sports and Wellness Programming. And Kuba, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much. I'm going to be brief. Don't want to take you guys valuable time. Just want to thank council members, city staffers, and everybody else that is here to welcome me so openly to this position. I'm very excited to be a part of town of Yucca Valley. I think there's a great future in this town. I want to be a part of it. So I just want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kuba. Next we have approval of the agenda.
Mayor, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve tonight's agenda as prepared.
Okay. We have a
Second.
motion and a second.
Council members Abel,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Dennison.
Yes. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. That'll be items 1 through 10 on your agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are routine matters of formal documents concerning or covering previous town council instruction. Items are enacted by one motion and a second without separate discussion unless a member of the town council or town staff requests dialogue on a specific item at the beginning of the meeting. Requests for public comment on the consent agenda items should be filled out with the town clerk. So the consent agenda, do we have any comments from council on consent agenda?
No.
None? Public comments on items 1 through 10 on your agenda? Online? Seeing none?
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I will second that.
Council members Abel,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Dennison.
Yes. Well, that'll bring us up to department reports. We'll be starting off item 11, San Bernardino County Fire Department update.
Thank you, Mayor. We've included this as a department report this time to be able to provide the department some extended time to make a presentation to the council, as well as to be able to allow you a chance for interaction and questions of the department. So with that, happy to turn it over to the interim Deputy Chief of Operations, Scott Tuttle.
Hi.
Great to see you. Chief Donnie Valoria is here as well. So welcome, and we'll turn it over to you, Scott.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's good to be back here. It's been a while since I've been to Yucca Valley Town Council. They've been keeping me busy in San Bernardino, and so it's nice to be back home early for once. I'm a little disappointed that David Smith left already. I was going to congratulate him on his new promotion or his new position, and wish him well, and say that he's been a great partner to the fire district the years that we've interacted. So he'll be missed, but I'm sure his replacement will be a good choice also. So tonight I just want to give you an update on the fire district for right here in Yucca Valley for 2022. So the agenda, we're going to start with some stats. We're going to go over call stats for 2022, talk about facility updates. I wish it was a little more robust on this facilities updates, but I'll give you an update on that. Apparatus updates, some technology advancements that we're pursuing, and then just a general county fire update. So here are our stats for 2022, and this is for the town of Yucca Valley, within the town limits. So you can see we ran 4,422 calls, and of those 3,746 were medical-related calls, or EMS calls, and that breaks out to be right around 85%. And then fires, we had 151 fires of various types, and that works out to be about 3.5%. And those percentages are pretty common across the county, across the state, and across the fire service. One thing to note, however, is that although the fires are only about 3.5%, when you factor in the man-hours involved in those different incidences, the hours, start getting closer and closer together. So, for instance, a typical standard residential structure fire here in Yucca Valley, you get 3 fire engines, an ambulance, and a battalion chief for a total of 12 people. And they may be there for 2, 3, 4 hours cleaning up that fire. Where a medical aid, you can have just the 2 guys on the ambulance, and they'll be done in an hour. So it's kind of a difference between the man-hours involved and the labor involved in a fire versus a medical call. And then we're going to talk about the Elk Fire later, but we had 75 personnel there for at least the first 12 hours, and then we had people there for another 3 or 4 days afterwards. So you factor in all those hours, that's just one of those 151 calls, but there's hundreds of hours involved in that. So just a different light to look at the call volume as opposed to just pure numbers. So here it is, right here, the Elk Fire. It started on May 26th, down in the south end of Yucca Valley, right on the park boundary. Strong erratic winds pushed the fire north and east, out of the park and towards town. By nightfall, it had grown to over 250 acres, and I think it was 270 some acres when it was completely done. Yeah, 261 acres in Yucca Valley, and then 171 acres in the park. So yeah, even more than I said. The thing we're most proud of is no homes were damaged or destroyed. So the crews did a great job of keeping the fire contained in the vegetation before it got into the neighborhoods down at the south end of town. So we had 75 people just from County Fire on this call. That doesn't include our partners from CAL FIRE, the Park Service, BLM, and Forest Service, which probably equaled that same number. So in total, we probably had close to 150 people on that fire at one time. Through all that, County Fire continued to provide service to the town of Yucca Valley. So we have move-up engines. So when we surge a fire like this, we also bring in fire engines to come backfill the fire stations so that we can continue to provide the service. So our local Yucca Valley people might be up fighting the fire. We've got people from other parts of the county that have moved in and are covering the station. And then the fire is human-caused, and as far as I know, it's still going through the process of, I think it's been determined. I'm not sure where it is in the legal process, though. Here's a few, just some photos of our guys and gals at work. So the 3 photos on the left are various structure fires here in Yucca Valley. And the 2 photos on the right are our Yucca Valley crews on a strike team up in Northern California over the summer. And again, when our people go on those fires to help out people in other counties or other parts of the county, we always backfill behind them and fill those positions. So the town's always covered with the services that you're used to and accustomed to. Okay, so let me start with, this is in no way or means an artist rendering of Fire Station 41. This is just a stock photo I got off the internet. So I don't want any misconceptions out there. So Station 41 replacement is still in the process. As you know, we have a plan to replace the existing fire station that's more than 60 years old. The money is provided or made possible by state funding with the help of the town council here. Your support is greatly appreciated, as well as Supervisor Rao and Assemblyman Mays. So we're still in the process of finding land. That's the big development. We had a parcel that we thought was going to work really well, and we couldn't come to terms with the owner, and we missed out on that opportunity. So we're looking at a couple other pieces right now, and I'm hopeful that we get through this process in the next couple months. We'll have a parcel purchased, and we can start the design phase. And then we'll have a real artist rendering up there. So apparatus, some of this I've talked about before, but just kind of recap what we've done in the past year. So A new engine for Station 42 on the Mesa. That engine is being built at the manufacturer as we speak, and it's probably slated to be delivered sometime towards the end of the year. That picture up there at the top is what that new fire engine will look like, and that's actually the one that went to Joshua Tree. Just a couple months ago, we did a welcoming service for that fire engine at the Joshua Tree Station. So 42 is getting one right on the hills of that one. And it looks exactly like that, same manufacturer. The next photo down is the brush engine. So that's a four-wheel drive, shorter wheelbase, more for going off-road, brush fires, vegetation fires. So we're replacing the brush engine at Station 41 this year. So it'll look just like that one. Then on the lower right, that's our chief officer vehicle. So that's what our battalion chiefs drive. And all three of our BCs over the last 4 or 5 years have gotten new vehicles. So the last one was just delivered earlier or later in 2022. So now they all have up-to-date vehicles. And then the ambulance, we replaced one right before COVID. Of the 3 ambulances we have in Yucca Valley, one was replaced right before COVID. A second one was purchased during COVID with CARES Act funding. And then the third one is being replaced this year out of just normal apparatus replacement budget. And then finally, on the left lower there is our all-terrain vehicle, our all-terrain rescue vehicle. So it's a side-by-side based platform that can get to and transport patients out in the remote areas. So that's going to be a Morongo Basin asset that we can use in the town and throughout the Morongo Basin. So that all gives us, at the end of this year, with all these purchases and deliveries, our fleet in the Morongo Basin is going to be all up to date, all modern equipment that will last us for years into the future. All right, switching gears here a little bit, we're going to talk about youth programs. Many people know that we have a Fire Explorer program. And what people may not know is during COVID, we kind of lost some momentum on that program. A lot of the kids had aged out during COVID and the schools weren't in session. We didn't have an opportunity to recruit new kids. So our numbers were way down. So we're redoubling our efforts, getting out to all the schools and trying to get out to the community groups to let people know, remind people that we have an Explorer program. So if anyone knows anyone who is between the age of 14 and 20, really 14 and 18, once they get to be about 18, 19, they don't want to hang around with 14-year-olds anymore. So they look for other opportunities to get some experience. But anyone 14 to 20 years old in good academic standing at one of the local high schools is welcome to join our Explorer program. And applications are online through our website. And then the other photo is our Girls Empowerment Camp that we did at our training facility in San Bernardino back in, I think it was September, October. So it was a program, and we didn't come up with this, we're copying other fire departments. It's been going on through fire departments throughout Southern California. We provide a weekend camp, it's a 2-day program, focused on girls, but it's open to boys too. Again, aged 14 to 18, to let them explore what it looks like to be a firefighter. So these girls spent 2 days at our training center, and they did all the skills that a firefighter does. They put on the protective equipment, they went in and sprayed water with the fire hose, they got to cut open cars with the jaws of life, they got to use chainsaws and cut holes. So anything that you could do in the course of being a firefighter, these girls got to experience that. So, and most of the instructors for that program were women who work for us. So it was great for the girls to see that this is a career path that they could pursue. Okay, talking about technology a little bit. So back when Mayor Dennison and I were riding around on fire engines, we used to have a 3-ring binder in the fire engine, and it had all the pre-plans for Yucca Valley. And some of them were actually hand-drawn maps of trailer parks and apartment complexes. We've come a long way since then. So this is our new program. This is a company called First Do. They're working with us to customize to our needs. And it's an app and web-based program where we can go in and do our pre-plans. So on the left there is Yucca L. And you can see that we went through and numbered where all the classrooms are, the evac area, where fire hydrants, utilities are located. And we're slowly going through all of our pre-plans and updating them. And then on the right is just an example. I think that's in Fontana somewhere. But for a larger commercial strip mall, it gives you a little more information, where the AED is, where our fire department connections are, entrances and business names. So it just helps our responders get a better situational awareness when they're en route to the location. And then tied with First Due, another branch that company has is a program called Community Connect. And this is for community members, residents, for homeowners and business owners. They can log onto this program and enter their own information. So for property owners, if they want to enter information about their property, maybe there's access issues, maybe there's people that live there with access or functional needs, they can enter medication or major medical history so that we have more information, again, as we're responding to that call. You can also even put in your contact information, and all this is secure and confidential. You know, it's not open to the public. It's not out there for the public. And so this is for either a homeowner or a business. You can do it for both. And then I have flyers and cards here if anybody's interested, or you can go to our website, and it's right on the front page of the website. You click on it, create an account, and it'll walk you through the steps to enter all the information you need for your home or business. And then when we go en route, when we're responding, the picture on the lower left there, that's our iPad-based, we used to call mobile dispatch terminals. They used to be like a laptop that would be in the fire engine of the police car. Now we have iPads, and all of our dispatch information and call information, command and control information, everything is managed from that iPad. So all that information from the Community Connect that residents, homeowners, and business owners enter is accessed through our iPads so that the responders can see all that information as they're going to the business or home. And then at the top, that just talks about our radio system. The county, not county fire, but the county in general, over the last 10 years or so, has been updating their 800 megahertz radio system. And along with that, we, county fire, have been pursuing grants to improve our radios, the actual handheld radios that we use. So we're slowly outfitting every firefighter with brand new state-of-the-art radios that, you know, give everybody better situational awareness, better communication, and just better technology. So community risk reduction is a big focus for County Fire. And one of the things we did recently here in Yucca Valley was we partnered with the Red Cross, and we did a smoke detector install day. So we went to 2 mobile home parks here in town and installed more than 200 smoke detectors. The smoke detectors were donated by Red Cross, and then they supplied some of the manpower, and then we supplied the rest. So it was a great partnership that we've done throughout communities in the whole county. And then just a little fire safety note there. 3 of 5 fire deaths are in homes with no smoke alarms. So just kind of illustrates the importance of having a smoke alarm in the house. And then finally, just a general county fire update. So the top photo is our new county fire headquarters, and we have never had a county fire headquarters of our own. We've been, if you've ever been to our headquarters in San Bernardino on 5th Street, on the 2nd floor, we rent that space, and it's been that way since I started in the early 90s. We've always wanted our own place to call home, and we finally have it. So that's an artist rendering of our new headquarters. It's an existing building on Tippecanoe in San Bernardino, right next to the Forest Service office, and they gutted the whole thing. When you drive by it, it looked like a parking garage because it was just concrete posts or columns and concrete ceilings. It's a 2-story. I can't remember the square footage, but it's going to be more than enough space for our current and future growth. So that's exciting. The construction's going on right now, and we plan to move in December of this year. And then hiring has been a big focus for us. It's become harder and harder to hire enough people. Again, you know, just a changing workforce, changing times. When I started, you know, it was you were competing against other people to get these jobs, and now we're competing against other employers to get the people. So, but we've been working hard with our recruitment and with our training academies. And so this year, last year, 2022, we hired more than 80 firefighters, and that's for the whole county. So that was 3 separate recruit academies that we put on with a total of 80 firefighters. And then during that same time, we promoted 89 captains and engineers. So firefighters up to engineer and engineer up to captain. So we're making a dent. We're almost there. We have another academy starting in February. We're hoping to have 40 in that one, and that'll bring us up to just about full staffing. So the photo on the right, just a local photo there. So center right is Cody Underwood. He's been a firefighter paramedic here at Station 41 for at least 5 years. He was one of those 89 that got promoted, so he promoted to engineer, and he elected to stay right here in Yucca Valley at Station 41. So we were happy to have him. And that's all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you for that, Chief. That's great news for us. You know, a lot of movement on the fire department, and most importantly, to have the staffing that you need to provide the services that you do. Any questions from the council? Comments? Yes.
The new radios that you updated for all the firefighters, are they compatible with the town emergency services and earthquake preparedness groups and that sort of thing?
No, but we have different radios that are designed for the statewide mutual aid system that work with, you know, the...
So in the event of some kind of major catastrophe, earthquake again, or a big wildfire, you have communication that will communicate with town and other emergency personnel.
Correct, yeah. Through the county OES, you know, they've got their radio operators that can come in, and we have radio communication with them.
And does the fire service have the ability to communicate with the shortwave radio and that sort of stuff?
No, again, that's where county OES with their amateur radio operators.
Ham radio operators, I'm thinking, yeah.
Bridge that gap between.
There's still a big gap.
Yeah.
Are there things, is anybody looking into that at all? Is that something that's just too far down the line, money too tight?
They're just different technologies.
Totally different, they're not compatible.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. There is a way to patch some radio frequencies from one band to another. I'm not sure about shortwave radio.
Okay.
Honestly, to be.
All right. Thank you, though. Appreciate it. You've always taken good care of us, and we're looking forward to that new station anytime you want to bring it.
So am I.
Okay.
Can't wait.
As soon as you get a good photo of it, we'd like to see it because we want to approve the architecture.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you for that. I have a couple questions myself. I was really glad to hear that you're continuing to move forward with the Explorer program.
Yeah.
So I'd like to help somehow, if we can, as a town, you know, promote those opportunities for the youth of our community. And the other one was, is there any way, will you be using any media outlets to talk about your first due public input opportunities for our local residents?
Yes, we are planning to do a major social media outlet media blast to get the word out on that.
Yeah, it seems like an amazing tool, you know, compared to how we used to have to try and manage that kind of information and you know, be the caretaker for it. So thank you. Those are excellent new programs that you've got going. All right. Any other comments from the audience at all? Don't see anything, so thank you very much.
All right,
I appreciate the update.
Thank you.
I'll leave these up here if anybody wants to take one.
All right, next we're going to move on to another department report, and this one is becoming quite an annual event for us. It's the Yucca Valley Film Festival in 2022 event recap.
Yes. Mayor and council, tonight we want to talk about the Yucca Valley Film Festival. The recommendation this evening is for the council to receive and file the report. As you know, in May of 2019, the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Commission reviewed a proposal from Matt and Oregon of Colorado Studios to create an inaugural Yucca Valley Film Festival in partnership with our department. The PRCC reviewed the program and voted to recommend the addition of the event to the town's planned program. Subsequently, the town council approved the recommendation and the inaugural event was held in November of 2019. Very well received from the community, 5-star review on the platform, garnering a lot of positive reviews from the filmmakers as well. Of course, with the onset of the pandemic, the festival continued in a digital format for 2020 and 2021, providing an outstanding virtual experience for film fans to enjoy from home via the Zerb TV platform. This last year, 2022, Yucca Valley Film Festival #4 was back in person and was very, very successful. Participants enjoyed 3 days of festivities that included films, animation, music videos, documentaries, interviews, masterclass, all of the blocks that they've come to love. And I wanted to invite our festival director, Matt Barreau, up at this time to walk us through a recap of the highlights for the council. So I'd like to invite Matt up to the podium. I think we'll start with a little video that Colorado put together for us.
Love Yucca Valley Film Festival.
Thank you. Matt, welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Mr. Mayor, council members, it's always a pleasure to be here and talk about the festival with you. Yeah, we just made a very short video for you to see some clips we gathered during the festival so you can get a feel of what happened. And I believe you have the report, and so I'm just going to go through the highlights of it and give you some additional information. So you said it.
Yeah, you can use the controller. The PowerPoint is up on.
I can do it myself.
Yeah,
Amazing.
just some arrows.
Okay, so excellent. It was back in person. So basically, it was the 4th edition of the festival, but only the 2nd one in person. So we had to reinvent the formula again a little bit to drive people to come to Yucca Valley, to get the community to come back to the festival. It felt like we started over a little bit, which was good. It was a challenge, but it was fun. It put a little bit of pressure on us, but I think we raised to the challenge because the community really responded very well to the festival. A couple, more than 500 movies were received for this edition. That means most of them we scout through different other film festivals and platforms. For example, we watch films on Vimeo, we watch films on YouTube sometimes, and we also look at what everybody else does on the film festival circuit. We have friends and colleagues in the US, in Europe, in London, about everywhere. And every time we see a movie that we feel would be interesting for Yucca Valley specifically, we get in touch and sometimes we negotiate, sometimes we just convince them, sometimes we just get the movies. So what you could see this year, for example, we had a movie from Ukraine, which made a lot of sense. We had movies from France, again, of course. We receive a lot of movies from France because they know we are French, so they send us movies. But basically, this is really an international film festival. We had, I don't remember, I think it was 17 different countries represented in competition, which is very significant for a medium-sized film festival like ours. More than 100 artists attended in person, and this is a record for us because on the first year we had, I believe it was 31 filmmakers who came to Yucca Valley to be there in person. 106 this year. So we really worked a lot for that, and they came, and most of them stayed for the whole 3 days of the festival. That was also something that we appreciated a lot. They just didn't come to see their film on the screen and then go away. They stayed the whole weekend for all the festivities, to meet the people, be a part of the community for just 3 days. The reviews, we are still 5-star review on the platform Film Freeway. Film Freeway is the main leading international platform where filmmakers and festival meet, basically. And we are a 5-star film festival there. It's very important to us because basically it's a reputation. It's the Yelp of the film festivals. So being there and having 5 stars for 4 years in a row, that builds credibility, stability, and builds trust with the filmmakers for them to come even more to Yucca Valley. Economic impact, that's something we wanted to highlight a little bit this year because it was originally, I remember, when I first met Dr. Lombardo, who was then mayor of Yucca Valley, to present the project. One of the first things you told me was you wanted to bring people to Yucca Valley to make the town shine, and you wanted to bring economic feedback to the town. You wanted people to come to hotels, to stay in hotels, to eat at the restaurants. And because we had that many filmmakers this year coming, most of them stayed in hotels, the Best Western, the Super 8, and some of them at short-term vacation rentals, of course. But basically, 3 days, 106 filmmakers, that makes a little bit of an impact, I believe, and we are very proud we were able to achieve that we were hoping to achieve that in 5 to 6 years, and we did it on year 4. That was a personal goal we had, so we are very happy with that. Okay, then we go to signature event. Another thing you told me was you wanted to create a signature event for the town. I believe we did, and I believe it starts to show, really, because when you Google Yucca Valley Film Festival and you look outside the festival and the cinema community, you are going to find listings like these, and people use the Yucca Valley Film Festival to talk about the attractivity of the town. So when we noticed that, that was something we were very proud of, and we hope to keep building on that. Because the more the festival is recognized, the more Yucca Valley as a town is going to be recognized, and the more Yucca Valley is growing, the more the festival is going to grow. It's really a win-win, so we are very happy to play a part in that. Artistic impact and social relevance. This is something we never really discussed, but it felt very important this year with the filmmakers in attendance, and with the discussions we had with people in the room talking with us and with the staff. Basically, film festivals are very important to artists and filmmakers because when you have a short film, and most of the time, even when you have a feature documentary or feature film, you are not going to go like that on Amazon, on Netflix, or any streamer, or not even TV or cable TV or anything. You have to go to film festivals. This is the only place these artists are going to find an audience. They're going to meet the people, they're going to show the films, and the Yucca Valley Film Festival, in a very short period of time, really became a place for the artists to come and show their films and enjoy everything a film festival should give, but that's become a commodity because outside of Cannes, Sundance, and all the big multi-million dollars film festivals, when you are just a simple filmmaker and you go there, you're just going to be nobody, basically. When you come to the Yucca Valley Film Festival, you're going to be the star. You're going to have the film, you're going to be on stage, you're going to be signing posters, you're going to be talking with the people, you're going to be there for 3 days, and you're going to be at the center of the world for 3 days. So that's really an experience we want to give to the filmmakers. And that's something that they told us was amazing. And we forgot that at some point, but they reminded us, because it was back in person, it was back for real again, they told us that it was an amazing weekend and they really loved it. Same for the local artists. Basically, we succeeded with the Yucca Valley Film Festival in creating a platform that local artists are able to use and to shine on. Basically, we had the exhibition, the art photography, we had the movies, we had the documentaries. Every block, every piece of the program is open to any filmmakers from around the world, but we pay a special attention to local artists. We had filmmakers from Yucca Valley, Joshua Tree, 29 Palms, Hemet, and a couple of the towns around here. So basically the San Bernardino County was very well represented this year in the actual program. Not only the submissions we receive, but the actual movies we screen here in that room. So again, that's something we are very happy about, because that shows local artists know about the festival. They send us the movies, or when they don't, and when we reach out, they say, oh yes, please put my movie in the Yucca Valley Film Festival. So again, something we are very happy about. Something we did this year was really work very hard on bringing the community front and center at the festival. So basically, it's always been the case, but we pushed the envelope a little bit further this year. And I am mixing things up, sorry. Community impact. Basically, what we wanted to do is make a film festival that everybody could show up at and enjoy. So we have movies for the kids, we have movies for every age range, and we have, like Sue said, different blocks. So we started this year with documentary on the Friday. We continued with the rest of the documentaries on the Sunday morning, and then nonstop for the 3 days, you have blocks of movies, different genres that keep going, and of course we have the red carpet. And like you see on the pictures, everybody's welcome, and everybody showed up. We had kids, we had adults, we had senior people. Every demographics of Yucca Valley is represented. We did something that we never did before this year. We organized a photo shoot for the filmmakers. The goal of that was to, again, push the Yucca Valley Film Festival a little bit higher as a film festival. Usually you never, as a filmmaker, when you go to a smaller film festival, you have the screening, you have the Q&A, you go home. This year with the Yucca Valley Film Festival, we had the masterclass again. We had all the usual programs, and we added this photo shoot. We brought a photographer from Los Angeles who came with his assistant, and he took a portrait of each and every filmmaker for free. And usually that's something you only have when you go to, again, to South by Southwest, to Tribeca, or they do that, of course, the Golden Globes, they just did it. So what we provided, it seems like nothing, but for them, for the filmmakers, again, that's a core memory. And when we sent these pictures a couple days after the photo shoot, every filmmaker posted their own portrait on Facebook, Instagram, and everywhere. So that means, even if it was new and it seems like nothing, that item, I believe, was something very important to broaden the scope of the impact of the name of Yucca Valley in social media and everywhere else. Places we couldn't be advertising, so they did it for us through that photo shoot. And it was very cold. The wind was crazy, but the pictures are beautiful. That was what I was starting to talk about a little bit before. We wanted to put the community front and center this year at the festival, so we built new partnerships. So on this document you can see we had the basketball team of the Yucca Valley High School. They came on the opening night because we had a documentary about basketball, Jackie Stiles, and they took part, they walked the red carpet. We had a meet and greet with the producer of the documentary, and then we had the screening, and then we had the Q&A and the picture signing. So the basketball team was part of that. We had, once again, Miss Yucca Valley Scholarship and the Rotary Club come to the closing ceremony on the Sunday, so that's a returning partnership. We are very happy about that. We had another new partnership, which was the Yucca Valley High School cheerleading team. So for those who were at the festival on the Saturday, they actually danced right here. They took 2 or 3 different performances they usually do separately, and they put it all together for 2 to 3 minutes of performance. And they also had a meet and greet with the filmmakers, which was, I believe, the most attended of the 3 meet and greets we had. And surprisingly, the cheerleading team and the filmmakers had a lot in common in the way they work as a team. And it started as questions from the filmmakers to the cheerleading, and then the cheerleaders started asking questions back to the filmmakers. And for 20 minutes, it went on and on and on, and it was something that it really loved being a part of. We also had a state partnership this year with the California Arts Council. Basically, we received at some point a short film that they financed. They helped the movie to be completed. And we screened that movie. It was, I think, the first one we screened on the Saturday night. And we had exchanges between the Art Council and the filmmaker and us to see how we could, in the future, build something a little bit more visible. But that was the first thing that we did with them. And again, they were very interested in what are you guys doing in Yucca Valley? What's happening here? Tell me more. That was basically the feedback we had about that. Returning partnership with the Paris Art and Movie Awards. As you may recall, the Paris Art and Movie Award is the main festival we run. And basically, it's a place we receive thousands of movies every year for this one. And it's a place we are able to pick very specific movies that we bring to Yucca Valley. We had French filmmakers in the past coming in person, and we keep using that as a connection because we operate as a network. Basically, the Yucca Valley Film Festival, the one we have in Paris, and the one we have in Los Angeles, another festival. It's 3 things that are connected that allow us to give more visibility to the filmmakers. And that, again, pushes Yucca Valley to a top tier of the film festivals. In terms of local partnerships, we also had the homecoming queen of the Yucca Valley High School present an award during the closing ceremony. We also had, we worked with the California Welcome Center. Basically, 1 or 2 of the artists that we had exhibiting their artwork during the festival came from the Welcome Center. And of course, we worked with the Yucca Valley Chamber of Commerce all year long. Basically, the Chamber of Commerce recommend to us what we should recommend to the filmmakers when they come to Yucca Valley. So basically, a list of hotels, a list of restaurants, a list of activities, so we can work all together. So when they come to Yucca Valley, they come for the festival, but when they are not in the room, usually they are enjoying something else in town. Here we go. Press and publicity. I'm going to go very fast on this one. We did a lot of press this year, so of course we worked with the Star. We've been on many different outlets, and what's notable is we've been supported this year by Supervisor Dawn Raw. She published about the festival. We also had a publication from Senator Shannon Grove. We also have been published by the Welcome Center, by the Chamber of Commerce, Joshua Tree Voice, the new magazine we have in the area. I didn't put everything on the document, but we were basically everywhere and multiple times. We've been multiple times in the store. We've been multiple times on the Chamber of Commerce newsletter. And for the first time, we were invited to Z107 with Merle, and we spent an hour talking with Gary about the film festival and the filmmaking industry. He was very interested about all that. And we also talked a lot about Brent Huff, the leading man we had for the masterclass this year. He knew the show, he knew the man, so we talked about that a lot. This is all we had in the store. And that's about it. What did I forget? Something that's worth noting, we had 2 other film festivals representatives in the crowd during the festival. One was a big LA film festival, and the lady came and just spent the weekend here. And the other one were the former programming team of the Polish Film Festival of Los Angeles. And they have a home here. It's something worth noting because usually every film festival, unless you really, really know, and it's a friend, we don't spy on each other, or we don't go on open ground like, hey, I'm from this film festival, I love what you do. And we had 2 this year. To me, it was very surprising. It never happened before in any country. So the fact they were so enthusiastic about what we do was like, okay, we are doing something good, I believe, because, they were here. That was good. And one last thing, maybe that's worth mentioning. We worked with TriPippy, the marketing agency, to coordinate about social medias and the after action and the content the town has on the website. We sent them pictures and everything we had, so that was new. It was very smooth. I mean, they asked questions, we gave them answers, we sent them pictures. That worked pretty well. And I think I went way over the 5 minutes that you initially gave me. I'm so sorry.
It's no
Worth
problem.
every second.
Well, it was very interesting. It was a great recap. Are there any comments from the public on this item, the presentation? And then how about back to the council? Any questions, comments? Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you, Matt, and Oregon. I always say your name wrong, but Oregon, A-U-R, yes, okay, good. Anyway, sorry I missed it this year. I had a incident, but I really appreciate it. I was supposed to give out an award, and I was really disappointed that I missed it. So anyway, thank you for all you do, and I look forward to next year. Thank you.
Yeah, Matt, it was a fantastic festival. Again, congratulations on pulling that off. I thought it was fantastic that you're offering things like the free workshops and so forth for young film producers and so forth. Hopefully we can get some other younger people to attend those and to learn from other filmmakers about how to do their craft and all the jobs behind the scenes, not just camera or director, but there's lots of different aspects of it. Are you happy with the time of year in which you're presenting it, with the weather, with other festivals? Does it seem like the time of year is a good fit for this festival?
That's a good question. I believe it's okay. I also believe if we were to change it, I would be open to consider any change. It's when we started back in 2018-19, it was supposed to be warm in November, and it's not anymore. So we were wondering at some point if we should discuss about that or not. I don't know. But in terms of time of the year for press and marketing and promotion, it's a good time. Because September, October, it's a little bit, there's a lot of things happening that the press is covering. And when you go December, January, there's going to be a lot of competition with other film festivals. So November was also already a strategic moment to do that. But if you feel that we should think of something else, why not? I would not, the only thing is I would maybe not recommend, but we could think about that, not going June, July, and August, because this is going to be an amazing, huge, tough competition with other film festivals. And the Recreation Department already has a lot of things going on with a music festival and other things. But why not think about it?
Yeah, I wasn't criticizing it one way or the other. I was just throwing it out there because, as you said, when they come up and experience the area, you want to have pretty decent weather. You want them to be able to get outside and explore and really get a feel for the area, and perhaps they'll come back and film here on location and so forth. But as far as the event was concerned, it was really well done. The decor of this building was fantastic. It had a great feel. There was a lot of energy in the room and so forth. It was real fun to be able to do the up-close show with you, with Gary. Gary just does a fantastic job of asking very intelligent questions and getting people to understand what a film festival is all about. Are you seeing any other small communities that would like to hire you and to recreate what we've created here? Are you getting some interest in other communities?
We are not receiving any demands. We are looking around, definitely. The model we created with you guys, with Yucca Valley, like I said to Sue, is very strong and very interesting because you get all the best of a film festival without having to hustle, of the actual watching the movies and reviewing and doing the whole groundwork about it. And we get the safety net of working for a town and the credibility of working for local government. I think it's a real win-win. We are discussing with another town in California, maybe to make a similar film festival. And to be very honest, in the near future, we are considering maybe Nevada to not compete actually with California and UK.
Yeah, I was thinking, it takes so much time. How many films, again, did you preview before you selected it and brought it down?
For Yucca
Yes.
Valley, a little bit more than 500.
So you're previewing 500
Yeah.
films of different lengths.
He does.
A team does it, or Oregon does it. But and then you whittle it down and so forth to the ones, and also you try to bring films that are have a connection to the desert.
Yeah.
So some of those wouldn't work in a Northern California town or a Nevada town, but yet it seems like you do all that work and you've got some really great films. Be great to be able to take those same group of films and maybe change a few to another similar sized festival because you've done so much work. But we really appreciate it. You have definitely done something that we wanted to do, bring a community event here, make it a festival. You know, we'd like to expand that into jazz festivals or a wine festival or distillery festival or something in the future to show that the concept of a film festival works. Let's bring some other festivals so we bring tourism different parts of the year. So again, congratulations, what a wonderful job.
Definitely.
Yeah, Matt, we've talked about this before, but I've never seen an event report so thorough and so professional on any event, and that goes back a lot of years. So great job on the report, but great job on the event too. You've delivered on what you said you were going to do. You and Oregon have been actually great ambassadors for the community and great representatives of the community now, because I know there's people that come from all over the world to our town, see you as Yucca Valley people, and that's you are good representatives of us, and you have put the film festival on the map, and congratulations. I think you did a great job this year.
Thank you.
Matt, I just want to say you've done an awesome job, and it's really exciting to see how this has grown over the 4 years. And I know you're always thinking forward, and can you tell us a little bit about what things you might want to change and do differently in next year's, and how can we help as being part of the town? What kind of support do you need to make it even better. You've done a marvelous job, and I just love watching it grow.
We are already very happy with the partnership and the way it works. The staff is amazing. The tech team is amazing. Everybody we work with, and we have, even if it's just a couple emails to spending hours behind a computer with people, every people we meet and we work with has been amazing.
Yeah.
So we just want that to continue. The only thing I can say is next year is going to be the 5th edition, which means it's the 5th anniversary already of the festival. So we would love to find a way to celebrate that. What form, shape, ID is going to be, I don't know yet.
Okay.
But definitely, yeah, we are very excited already to come up with something for next year. We'll see.
It was really great to be in the room and with all the filmmakers and the artists, and there seemed to be this real openness and collaboration, and people were just excited to talk about what it is that they have going, and it seemed real open, which is what our community's about, and I hope they felt that open receiving of, it may be something different than what we're used to in a lot of ways, but they felt welcomed and appreciated here, and it was so nice to get an exchange of ideas and talents and bring it all here. And thank you for what you did to make that happen.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Matt. It was a great presentation. It was a great recap, and they've already said plenty about how great the event was. But I'll say one thing is it's really hard to kind of figure out a community and to find something that is good for their appetite of what they want to, use their time with. And I see you at a lot of places in town, lately especially. You in Oregon are out, even when I saw you out yard sailing.
Yep.
You're just in the community, and that gives you the opportunity to really see what kind of town we are, and you're bringing a program forward that we really enjoy. So keep it going. You're very creative.
Thank you. It's the community that feeds us and just reflects back. We're just the messenger. The Yucca Valley is the star of the festival.
Well, very nice of you to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was another receive and file.
Yes, sir.
Any other things on that?
No, I just want to say what a joy it is to work with Matt and Oregon. They're, it's their vision. We just execute it. They think of everything, and they just, they're just so polished and professional to work with. So we really appreciate doing this event with them.
It seems to be a good pairing with your team and his team, and everything's working well.
Yeah,
and I'd like
super.
to mention too about our social media, the tools that we have in our town, that they were a benefit to Matt and the program.
Yep, terrific.
So item number 23, we're going to move on to 2023 point in time count.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Forgive me if my voice cracks a little bit, so just bear with me. The item before you is information pertaining to the upcoming 2023 point in time count. San Bernardino County 2023 point in time count and subpopulation survey is a one-day, street-based and service-based, unduplicated count of sheltered and unsheltered individuals to identify how many people within the county of San Bernardino are homeless. This year, the count is going to be next Thursday on January 26th from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Just a little background, the Department of Housing and Urban Development requires that continuum of care communities that receive HUD COC funding, such as San Bernardino County, perform an annual one-day point-in-time count of sheltered and unsheltered homeless individuals during the last week of January. They have a specific date that they designate. Results of the 2023 homeless count and subpopulation survey will provide the county and local jurisdictions with benchmark numbers that will serve as the basis for developing local, community, and countywide strategies to provide effective programs serving homeless individuals and families. Staff from town here and also the city of 29 Palms have been working with local nonprofits and others within the basin to recruit volunteers, identify locations of unhoused persons and groups, and organize the street-based count that will occur next Thursday on the 26th. The town of Yucca Valley, as we did last year, will hold an in-person training for those that are volunteering within the community of the Morongo Basin. That will be this Thursday, January 19th, from 10 a.m. to noon here in the Yucca Room. All interested volunteers must register on the county's website prior to the training. If there are individuals that cannot make the in-person, there are other options that they can do virtually. Dates are on that website, on that link. Just to give you a little background as far as the numbers from previous years, last year, 2022, there was a total of 57 that were identified here in Yucca Valley. We did not have one in 2021 due to the increase in the pandemic numbers. 2020 identified 71 individuals here in Yucca Valley, and 2019, 72. So that concludes the staff report. The recommendation is to receive and file this informational report, and staff would be happy to answer any questions following public comment.
Well, thank you very much, Deborah. Is there anyone in the public that would like to comment on this item? Anyone online? No. I'm bringing it back to the council.
Yes, Deb, can you tell us how many volunteers we had last year?
Well, interestingly enough, we had for the total basin a total of 48 that registered, and majority of those came to the in-person training. Unfortunately, due to the weather last year, it was, I think I mentioned this last time, it was 20 degrees.
Yeah.
A lot of people had to call out if they're ill or they just could not make it. So I want to say because we have 2 deployment centers, the way it has worked out for the basin is we have individuals that are interested in surveying in Yucca Valley and Joshua Tree. Don Rao's office has been wonderful to allow us to deploy from there. So we meet there very early in the morning and then assign everybody areas to go survey. 29 Palms, just because of the distance, they have a separate one in their area. Right now, currently, we have a total, I believe I just got an update today, of about 30 basin-wide, and that's kind of split half between Yucca and 29. So,
Is there an optimum number or a minimum number that you must have in order to make this successful?
That's a little difficult to say. Now, unlike other areas of the county, we're spread out.
Yes, we are.
The other, city of San Bernardino, Rialto, and those, even Victorville, they have concentration of where people are located. Ours is a little different within the basin because they're, again, spread out in the unincorporated areas like Joshua Tree. So, no, I can't say that there's So
you can use all the help you can get.
Can use all the help we
encouraging the
can
public
get.
to participate. Are there any special skills you need to do to have in order to participate?
No special skills, but a smartphone is required because there is an application that has started about, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, when I started doing the point-in-time count. And so part of the training is downloading it onto your smartphone, and that's where the survey is done. And then, so basically, that's where all the information is captured, and then it can be uploaded into the system at the county level.
Is our cell coverage sufficient? I have trouble getting it at my home. I can't imagine what it's like out in some of the areas where some of the homeless are, in the outside desert areas.
The beauty is you can do the survey without having it go upload, so it saves it.
Very good.
To where when you get into the cell service, then it will upload it.
Very good. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Very good. Well, I want to thank you for the time and effort you put into this. You are enthusiastic about doing this and doing it right, and I know it requires a lot of effort, and I appreciate all that you do for it.
Thank you.
Any other comments? If not, Deborah, I have 2 things that I have a question about. One is really what makes and what is the threshold to consider someone a subpopulation? And then the other one was, it says shelter versus unsheltered. I don't know what you would start to consider shelter. Where is that?
Sheltered would be considered like Unity Home.
Okay.
That would be
So they
considered
would still
sheltered.
get counted
Yes.
as someone that would qualify for this survey?
Correct.
Okay.
And then HUD determines the definition. So basically, I don't believe that that has changed this year, but basically, it's in an individual who stayed somewhere where it's not habitable, basically. So if they're in their car, that's considered unsheltered.
Okay.
So, but if they're in a camper, and again, this is HUD, so please don't shoot the messenger, but if they're in a camper that may have a bathroom available to them, they don't consider that unsheltered.
And then the term of subpopulation?
So, yeah, that's a good question. So subpopulation just is identified the individuals within a certain area. So I don't know if I can truly define that for you,
Okay.
so, yeah.
All right, well, thank you.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome.
Appreciate the update on it. So I believe this is a receive and file also.
Yes.
And we have, our last item of the evening is item number 14, the governor's fiscal year 2023-24 state budget update.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Last item for you this evening is just a quick recap. As you know, the governor proposed his budget in the beginning of the calendar year. In terms of process, that's the first step. Legislature begins to work on that budget between now and May. In May, the governor will issue out a revised budget, and then final reconciliation with the legislature occurs during the months of May and June. And they're required to have an adopted budget by June. Unlike the last 3 to 4 years where California has had surpluses every year, including last year's surplus, if you can wrap your mind around this, was $98 billion was their surplus on about a $300 billion budget. This year, it's going to be a deficit, projected deficit of about $22 billion. By all of their descriptions at this point, it's coming across as a manageable deficit. So they feel that it's manageable. And in fact, in the governor's initial budget, most of the changes are either funding shifts, project delays, or transfers out. Fortunately, at this point, they're not identifying any use of rainy day reserve funds, which is wise. And then additionally, another positive note is that currently there is no significant impact on local governments. And so at this point, we're appreciative of that. A lot can happen between now and May and June and to the time where you get to a final budget. But in general, even though it is a deficit at this point, we looked at our budgets for 22, 23, 23, 24 will likely not be impacted, barring some significant events. So we will keep the council apprised as this process moves forward. You'll recollect that we're in the middle of a 2-year budget cycle, so our adjustments coming back to the council will be relatively minor adjustments to that second-year budget. And we don't anticipate significant changes to that because of what's going on at the state level at this point. So just wanted to bring that to the council's attention. Happy to answer other questions after public comment. And again, we'll keep the council apprised as we move forward.
All right, thank you. Any comments from the public on item number 14? And council? Okay.
I had one question. In the proposed budget, they talked about triggers for various things. Can you explain that process a little bit for me?
Sure. So the triggers are simply basically decision points that if revenues attain a certain level, then the funding may either be restored, or if it doesn't, then that's the trigger to cut it out of the budget. So they are based on revenue projections, and then as those projections are refined over time, they have greater clarity of which either reductions, shifts need to occur or not occur, as the case may be.
Okay.
And to take that a step further, they may propose a budget that kind of works in the inverse of that, where the cut is adopted into the budget, and should funding levels reach a certain trigger, the funding is restored. Yeah.
Okay, and there were some projects that I saw that were worthy projects possibly, but
Yeah,
on the
and I think
chopping
generally
block.
speaking, as you go through it, most of them are related in some way to some of the one-time spending that
Right.
was authorized in the last few years with the surpluses. So there's, a lot of it was related to climate and climate programs and initiatives.
There was some housing
Others
funds.
to housing and some of the housing subsidies, some of it to the pandemic relief and assistance. So those are really the areas that seem to have gotten most of the focus in the initial budget that was released.
Thank you for your explanation.
All right, so
So we're going to,
that'll bring us up to future agenda items. Council have any they'd like to mention?
I was just wanting to ask staff when we were going to possibly get another update on our partnership. We did affordable housing partnership that we approved. How that's coming along, any updates on that would be wonderful.
I might defer that to the mayor. He's actually has probably in his announcements, he's been assigned to one of the subcommittees on the Housing Trust, and so I know that they have a calendar of work events, but staff, at the staff level, we continue to stay engaged with SBCTA on that subcommittee. We'll bring back updates as soon as we have them. They're still in actually the formation period where they're trying to gauge interest from all of the jurisdictions within San Bernardino County. The formation of the actual trust has not occurred yet.
Thank you.
And just to follow up and kind of close that up, that'll be our first meeting for the Housing Trust Ad Hoc. And this is through SBCTA and SCAG. Will be on the 23rd of this month. So on our next first meeting of next month, we'll have an update on that. With that done, we'll go ahead and move on to public comments. Town Council takes this time to consider your comments on items of concern which are not on the agenda. When you're called to speak, please state your name, community of residence, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Inappropriate behavior which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting will result in forfeiture of your public comment privileges. The Town Council is prohibited by state law of taking action on discussion items not on the printed agenda. So I'd like to reach out. Anyone have any public comments they'd like to bring up? Items that were not on the agenda today? Anything online? Nothing? Okay, then we'll bring it back. We'll go ahead and have staff reports and comments.
Captain, you have anything this evening?
Yes, thank you. Mayor, members of the council, just happy to report a brief update on Operation Dust Devil. If you'll remember, that's our OHV enforcement and education efforts that started on December the 17th. I'm happy to say that at least on 2 occasions that I'm aware of, they've been up here in the Morongo Basin, have spent a significant amount of time here in Yucca Valley. I do not have an update yet this week, but as of last Monday, I know they've contacted over 650 individuals, and this is going to be throughout the county. I don't have a breakdown for Yucca Valley yet. And their goal is to educate people, to point them into the great areas that they can ride legally. But on the other side of that coin is making sure they're taking care of quality of life issues for residents up here in Yucca Valley and the surrounding areas. So they have written already dozens of citations. They've run across some occasions where they've towed off-highway vehicles to send a little bit of a stronger message. You know, they have that discretion when they go out to the father-son riding around, might not realize that it's private property or a road they're not supposed to be riding on. They point them in the right direction. They're carrying brochures directing them. But there have been occasions where they've seen some repeat offenders and some people who we don't, want riding around our desert where they're not supposed to, so they have taken a little bit more of a firm action. So I anticipate them coming up a couple of more times in January alone, and this is going to go through at least the end of March. As you know, one of the members of Operation Dust Devil is one of our local deputies assigned here to the Morongo Basin Station. So even after Dust Devil ends, he's going to be able to bring some of that, not just the skill of the different equipment they're operating, but some of the strategies that they've used. And we'll start entertaining the idea of sending them out more often here in our basin as, the interest of the public calls for that. So it's been very successful thus far. And then lastly, unfortunately, there has been an uptick in the last couple of weeks with catalytic converter thefts. So I'd just really like to encourage the public to be vigilant with their neighborhoods. When there's a a car that doesn't belong or a person that doesn't belong, there's nothing wrong with putting in a call for service, just saying, I don't recognize this person parked sitting in a car, or they've been driving up and down the neighborhood for the last 20 minutes. You're not suggesting they're doing something wrong, but we don't want, to put anybody at harm and go out. One of the individuals who's committing these theft was armed just a couple of days ago. And so we're investigating that. We have some great leads, and hopefully sooner than later, we're going to have some people in custody on this case. But we just encourage people to call. Let us know if they see something that doesn't look right in their neighborhood. If you have, video surveillance and you see deputies out there investigating a crime, maybe your neighbor's catalytic converter was stolen and they might not have good video surveillance, or you're going to catch a different angle. So the deputy's been pretty good about going door to door in that immediate area, but sharing that video surveillance, making sure you have good lights outside and you're keeping an eye on your neighborhood, and you can really help us out and save yourself a very expensive fix.
Are there certain cars or certain areas of our community that are more prone to this?
I was looking at the most recent map today, and even if I'm just talking about Yucca Valley, and it's certainly throughout
All
the basin,
over.
It's really scattered. Certainly, we're getting, one night it tends to happen usually between 1 and 3:30 in the morning, but we've had some in the middle of the day. The higher the lift is on the vehicle, the easier it is for an individual to get underneath, usually with a Sawzall or some type of electronic saw, and
How
cut it out
many,
and get out
what's
there.
the incident number? How many catalytic converters are being stolen?
I would venture to say in about the last
Yeah.
45 days, we've had probably about 50.
Wow.
So that's costing
And
individuals.
what is it they're stealing them for? Is the precious metals in the converter?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's people that they can take them to and they can recycle them, and they're making pennies on the dollar. So what's going to
Yeah.
cost you north of $1,000, they might get $50 to $100 for. But it's something that somebody who's skilled in this, it could take them less than 2 minutes.
That's crazy.
So usually there's somebody watching and there's somebody underneath the vehicle. And by the time you hear a
It's
saw
done.
in your driveway and you go out there, they're gone or they're pulling away. So that's
Wow.
why we really rely on that video surveillance. The people who have recording equipment, we've made some good strides, and hopefully by the time we meet again, I'll have some good updates for you.
That's
on that.
great. Yeah, I had somebody steal the copper out of some fixtures at my dental office. It cost me probably $5,000 to replace, and the fixture was probably worth less than $40. It just made no sense. And there was water everywhere because they broke a main water line when they did it. It was insanity. But, okay, thank you. We appreciate your vigilance.
Thanks, Captain. Deborah or Sue, you have anything?
So the High Desert Nature Museum has an exhibit called Gadgets Galore, opening on Thursday. We rented a smaller exhibit, a traveling exhibit, but then we augmented it with collections from local residents. So the museum staff has put together a really awesome exhibit. Gadgets Galore opens on Thursday. It's just a great collection, and we love that a lot of it is from the community, where they're sharing their collections of old antiques or old radios or all of that. I think I saw my teenage telephone in there somewhere, so we won't say how old that is, but it's going to be terrific. Opens on Thursday, inviting everyone to come see it.
Thanks, Sue. Shane, you have anything tonight?
Just a couple items, Mayor and Council. You'll notice out in the field, contractors are underway on both your Little League and Onaga Trail pedestrian safety projects. Those are curb, gutter, and sidewalk projects that are underway. Staff, including myself and the town manager, reviewed the next rendition of the Old Town parking restroom improvement project. We're kicking that back to the landscape architect with some modifications. Hopefully we'll have that plan available for review and be able to authorize preparation of construction documents in the near future. Staff's been working with the architect's GPA on the town hall modernization plan. We're getting to the point where we're pretty comfortable with the floor plan for current and some degree of future town staffing needs. Just as a reminder, that floor plan takes into account a little bit over 8,000 square feet of space vacated by County Library when the County Library moved over to Joshua Lane and Highway 62. Included in that floor plan is a town council chamber. So maybe if you figure in final construction plans and the construction timeframe, maybe after about 33 years after incorporation, there may actually be a town council chamber, and we won't be setting up and tearing down this Yucca room for council, planning commission, PRCC, and all those other events that take place. We signed contracts with an architect to begin the conceptual work on the senior center, so that is underway. It's going to be an interesting project because one of the main components that is necessary for rehabilitation are the restrooms. They cannot be made ADA compliant in their current configuration, so some additional space is likely necessary. So how that additional space, architectural enhancements, rehab of the office, the entryway area, the appearance of that, tying that into the center here, be a very interesting project underway. You'll see out in the field your street crew cleaning up after this last series of storms. Depending on what part of town you're in, you had anywhere from 1.5 inches to 2 inches, 2.5 inches of rain since last Friday. We just request that drivers use caution and be careful when they see the crews out there on their equipment. Your planning commission is going to be setting the 10% cap for short-term vacation rental permits at their meeting next week. It's likely that number is not going to change because I don't believe state HCD has updated any housing numbers yet. So for the current time being, we're not seeing that there will be any significant change there. And then finally on STVRs, the number of permits available as of last week stood at approximately 42. That concludes staff's comments this evening.
Thank you, Shane. Thanks for going through all those projects. We do have quite a bit of stuff going on, so exciting to hear that. Just from staff's perspective, Superintendent Smith was amazing to work with for the last 8 years, and we will definitely miss him. He's been engaged not only representing the park, but representing the community, whether it's Basin-Wide Foundation, any host of other activities. He was always very, very active, and so we'll miss him and wish him all the best. One additional shout out on the film festival, and that's to Sue and her team. What you saw in terms of site decoration was a labor of love and tasks by all of your rec staff. And Sue and her team did an amazing job. It wouldn't look the way that it does. The film festival director does his part, but a lot of that still falls on staff. And that's going to be a conversation that we continue to have as that event, if it's still a priority the council begins to build, what that looks like in the future, because it's definitely a large-scale event on the staff side. King of the Hammers coming up, starting the first week of February. That whole week, right around there, plus or minus, you'll start seeing vehicles roll in. If you haven't already, they're out there. So exciting time for the town, exciting time for economic activity in the town. We're glad to see that. And then this Saturday, I'll have the opportunity to participate in the Morongo Basin Conservation Association's annual meeting. They're going to have it here in the Yucca Room. They've invited a number of either agencies or representatives to engage in their conversation on they call it the need or the dire need for housing in the Morongo Basin. Our goal in that conversation is to ensure that the town is well represented in identifying facts about what is going on in Yucca Valley, how Yucca Valley policies, how other state policies are affecting the ability to build in this community. And so we're going to have that conversation. Joining us is going to be the City of 29 Palms. Frank will be there. Board Chair Rao is going to represent county in that conversation as well as, and there are a number of other organizations that will take part in that. So that's, I believe, 9 to 2. I think we've committed to the morning session, and then likely we'll have other commitments afternoon, but will be an interesting conversation nonetheless. So thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
All right, with that, we'll go ahead and bring it back to the council. We'll start off with Councilmember Abel.
The police chief, I didn't know that, I mean, when somebody has a complaint or concern about someone in the neighborhood or off-road vehicles and so forth, there's a non-emergency number they can call. Is that non-emergency number one that's easily memorized?
Well, it depends how good you are with numbers, I guess.
No, because you know how some, 1-800-RENTALS or 1-800, if the county would think about perhaps coming up with a non-emergency number that's easy to remember, like, 365 SBCS, like San Bernardino County Sheriff's, or some kind of acronym that can be easily recognized, the easier it is for people to remember a non-emergency number, the more often they'll use it and not tie up your 911 lines. So just something to think about. I was thinking about that because I'm thinking, if I wanted to call non-emergency, I'll put it in my phone maybe in the future so I would use it. But having something that's really easy to remember, and no one has to remember 911, we've got that in our brain. But something like that would be really helpful for non-emergency numbers for our local residents. So I just thought of that after you gave that last report. As far as staff, I wanted to thank staff so very much. People in the community, we really appreciate it when you reach out to your council members on a particular problem or an issue that you're having, or you don't quite understand the process of getting a permit or dealing with some type of violation. But you have to remember, council members do not work the day-to-day operations. That's not our job. We're not to micromanage or to do operations and how the staff goes about doing their job. So all we can do is listen, give you suggestions on who maybe to reach out to, or perhaps we would reach out to our town manager, so the town manager can then relay that information to whoever appropriate person on staff is. Basically, the town council, we have 2 employees. That's our town manager, and that's our legal staff. Those are our two members, and those are the ones we contact. We don't call animal control directly and talk to the staff. We don't call Park and Rec and talk directly to staff. We talk to our town manager, and then that's up to the town manager to talk to staff to delegate. So again, feel free to contact us and let us know, but we do not deal with day-to-day operations. And so sometimes I feel like I'm pestering staff by saying, I got this call, can you look into this? They're not understanding that. But I really wanted to thank staff for the responsiveness that you give to our citizens. When there isn't concern, of course, we hear one side of the story, there's multiple sides of the story, and so we really thank you for being able to get back to the residents and straightening all those out. So I really appreciate staff for doing that. And hopefully you don't look at us as a pain, but also knowing that they contacted us when they should have maybe contacted you directly. When I talked about affordable housing, that's something that a council's very much aware of and really wanting to push forward. I just read about 30 affordable housing units for low-income veterans planned in San Bernardino. So 30 units set aside for low-income veterans, and the threshold is that the veteran household has an income lower than 61% of the average median income in San Bernardino County. So I was thinking, our first affordable housing project was for seniors because they are at risk and they're the ones needing housing. The second group that I thought of was our veterans. We're a very patriotic community. You cannot go very far and not have some connection with the military base here. Either someone's retired, someone's employed over at the base, somebody has a veteran that served. I mean, we're a very patriotic community, and I thought in our affordable housing, if we could set aside perhaps or look into housing for veterans, that might be a next great project to have here in our community. Also, I was at the Builders and Realtors meeting with staff, and gentleman who deals with Old Town was saying that they're really trying to, or hopefully trying to look at something which residential and commercial together, because that's sort of the model that they have, like residential shops with also commercial under it or alongside it. So again, I just hope maybe as we're looking forward, you may ask, are there any affordable housing projects for veterans? I know that the U.S. Vets is a nonprofit organization that's the one that's helping fund this project in San Bernardino. So again, I think our community could get behind affordable housing for veterans or also a second affordable housing project for seniors, because there's still a waiting list and a need for senior housing. So anyway, again, I wanted to thank staff for that. I want to thank the captain. It's very challenging to be in your line of work, and I know that Life and death situations come up all the time, and so our hearts and prayers are with the emergency personnel, whether it's fire or emergency personnel as far as the Sheriff's Department or Highway Patrol. But let the men and women know that we really appreciate them and we're with them and praying for them.
Oh, excuse me. Councilmember Droz, please.
All right. Councilmember Abel reminded me of, our role as on the town council, how when constituents email us, text us, call us, we don't directly interact, but I send everything to Curtis, and I just did over the weekend issues I've had over the holidays from constituents and in the neighborhood and out of my neighborhood. So I really appreciate him following up with all that. So I think I had 9 items on my list that I had over the holidays. So anyway, thank you for that. And Cuba, is that correct? Yes. So welcome to the staff. And I couldn't tell, are you really tall or is Sue really short? I don't know. I couldn't. Okay. But that's cool. We welcome you to our group, and thank you very much. And thank you, Scott Tuttle. And Donnie was here, but I know Scott's still here. So thank you, Scott. We appreciate your report. And Sue and the staff, I really want to thank you for doing so much, like especially what you did with you always do so much, but the film festival, being there with Matt. And I know Matt does all the work with the aligning everything up, but you guys set up the whole thing, the atmosphere and everything, and that's a lot of work. So I just want to thank you for that. And also my last comment is Robert in the audience, who's always here. I always call him the highwayman. Thank you for being here again on our road crew, and I'm sure it's been kind of tough the last couple of weeks with all the rain. So thank you, Mr. Highwayman, and also the captain. Thank you. I always appreciate your help with everything. All right, and that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to move over to Councilmember Schooler.
Just echo all of those thank yous. Those are great reports tonight. It's good to get those from time to time. Did want to give a shout out to the street crew. It's been really challenging with these storms coming in one right after another, and they're out there spending all that time. And it's kind of a thankless job. We just sort of expect to see them out there, but they're doing a great job of keeping us keeping the roads scraped and safe out there. So just thank you for that. And Matt, again, Oregon, thank you for the film festival and the great report, awesome report. And Chief, thank you for that report. Just everybody welcome Cuba. And that's about all I got.
All right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, there's a lot of duplicate here, probably too. Road crew's been working really hard, back-to-back storms. Looks like there may be a little bit more coming in the future. We appreciate all the efforts, and the community has been kept very safe. We thank you, Captain, and I'm concerned about this theft of the catalytic converters, and hopefully we can apprehend those people. It can't be very many people doing that. It's just probably a few that are really being a nuisance, and I'm sure you'll shut them down in due time. Thank you, Matt and Oregon, for the film festival. I'm a big supporter, and it's just wonderful to see it going so well. I look forward to supporting it again and finding out what's going to happen in the next year. It's going to be great. I'm also in favor of the timing of, I think you moved it a little bit earlier in the month this time, and I think it worked a little better. But if the weather is a concern to you, maybe even a little earlier would work. But it's worth looking into and discussing. It was really fun to participate in, and I think the community really just benefited greatly from it. I want to welcome Cuba to our team of people, and it's going to be a a challenging thing to be involved with all the sports and wellness programs that we've got going, and we're sure that they're in capable hands with you. We want to see it grow and prosper, and with the addition of the pool coming in the future, there'll be all sorts of opportunities. I'm excited about our programs. We have a great staff that's been working very hard to keep the town busy with community activities, and it's just very rewarding to see it all coming together. Safe travels to our superintendent from the park, and we're really sad to see him leave. He was great to work with, and we got a lot accomplished together, and his involvement in our community was just such a blessing in so many ways, and we'll look forward to having him visit back again. Hopefully we'll see him, and we wish him every success in his future up there in San Francisco. Scott, I've got to get that fire station built, man. I want to see the picture when you do get one. That was a little disappointing, the one you put up there. So I'm going to give you a hard time until we get that fire station. But it's nice to see the report. You did a wonderful report showing us the new equipment and explaining, its uses. And there was a wide variety of things there that I didn't know we had. The off-road vehicle, with a lot of clearance, and then that truck that you were saying actually goes, it's a four-wheel drive, is it? Or six-wheel drive, whatever. It goes out in the boons and just keeps going. That's awesome. It's nice to see that the equipment is up to date and modern, and I'm excited about everybody being in good communication with the new radios. That will be very helpful, I'm sure. Let's see, what else did we have? I think that's it. Oh, I had one thing about the need for public housing. I was over at the senior center to deliver some mail that was in a mailbox that came into my possession, and the resident lives now in the senior center. And so I had the manager over there take me on a little tour while I was over there delivering the mail. And that place looks as new as I remember it when I went in it the first time they opened it up. They take incredibly good care of it. And if I remember, we were partnership with the company that built and maintains it. And it cost the town a little bit, but it wasn't terribly significant. Can you remind me what it cost us to actually do that building?
The town had a significant investment in that project as a lender. So we're not part of the operations, but we're into the project for about $2.9 million. And all of that funding in some way, either through contribution or through repayment, will come back to the town, or is
it was
scheduled
long-term.
to come back to the town by the end of
it's
the
like over a
55-year term.
50-year long period of time. It will come back to us, but we also donated the land, is that correct? Or some part, that was some part of it?
Land was part of the $3 million that the town has put into the project.
Okay, all right.
All of which is ultimately payable back to the town at the end of the 55-year term. The project itself was around $17 million, so the town's contributions, either through infrastructure or cash or other in-kind, it was significant.
It was significant.
Yes.
It was so worthwhile, though, and I hope if there's an opportunity, we are in a position which I think we've been pretty good with our money and frugal. We planned well for the future in events, and we've lived well through COVID and have actually done well with our surpluses. I'm hoping that there's opportunity to build another either senior housing project like that. I also have kind of a soft spot in my heart for housing for people that are first-time homeowners or our young people, so we can retain them in our environment once they graduate high school, or the early college graduates, where they need a place that's affordable. And I think it's kind of an undervalued group, but I think if they have a chance early on to become homeowners, that can help build generational wealth or wealth for them in the future. And I think it's a good place for the town to put some emphasis in the future. Always interested in looking into the projects that the county has for housing, low-cost housing. I think there's all sorts of opportunities, and we have space. Hopefully that can be utilized. I'm excited about the projects that are, the expansion of the Onaga and the downtown project with the parking lot and that sort of thing. I'm excited that those are coming online and look forward to hearing more about those. So, thank you. Really appreciate everybody.
Just in closing real quick, I really enjoyed all the presentations. David Smith took time out of his right now very hectic schedule, and I truly appreciate it. We've already talked about that. Matt and Argonne, of course, Yucca Valley Film Festival, thank you for taking the time being here tonight and giving us that wonderful, and I looked it over in the agenda too. It's great photographs, and thanks for including those. And always, public safety has always been my #1 thing in our community. I've had an opportunity to talk with Captain Warwick just over the last few days quite a bit, and the programs that they're doing are very important in our community, and they are working diligently, and I appreciate that. And then Chief Tuttle being out here again, I like the look of the technology and all the things, and thanks for the update. And Cuba, thank you for being here. I met you about a year ago. You were very cordial, but the best thing that I remember is you were in the gymnasium, you were surrounded by a bunch of kids and just having a great time. And I always remember that. And then here you are today, because I thought, that's a great person in Park and Rec. I just remember that moment. So thank you for coming over and helping us out with the many great programs that staff has available for the kids, and young and old, everywhere around. So we're going to have a good time. I will say one thing. I was out in Hammertown last weekend looking at what was going on. I believe this year will probably be the biggest event they've ever had. There's more infrastructure than I've ever seen in my life. Investments are over the top out there, and it looks like there's power out in there now too, and big power. So it looks like they'll have a lot more RV capacity in some type of structured way, and I think that will directly relate to a bigger event than ever. So with that, over the next couple of weeks, be patient in our community. We have projects here. Traffic, again, it can be very dangerous in those times when when people are trying to get around in these larger rigs. You just let them, please give them an opportunity to get over and merge and not miss their turns and those kinds of things. Happens every year. It is a bit frustrating for some, but it's really good for the whole community that we embrace these events that come to our area, and so many people do enjoy. It's a short period of disruption for us, but it's a lifetime of memories for others. That's about it. With that, I'm just going to talk about our upcoming meeting schedule. That will be next regular meeting of the Yucca Valley Town Council will be held on Tuesday, as always, February 7th, 2023, right here at 6 p.m. in the Yucca Valley Community Room. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.